computer. For some reason, you got your camera not clicked?
This is my, from the show.
There you go. There you go. Now I can see you. I was wondering where you were. Hey, Chris. Hey, guys. Welcome to another episode of Pro Seller Talk. My guest tonight is Chris Smith. Chris he's a school teacher, believe it or not. He was at one point, and I'm very pleased to say that because of what he's built with his eBay business and now Amazon business, he's actually doing what I love to talk about in stories. And he's actually a stay-at-home dad now, working his businesses and be able to go to his kindergarten, his child's kindergarten class and volunteer and just do the things that he wants to do. And I think that's such a great story. And that's kind of why we do what we do, is to kind of bring mom and dads home to be able to do the things that they want to do and enjoy the things that they want to enjoy. So I'm excited to have him here. I hope you guys have got your thinking caps on and have a lot of questions for him also. He's here to share what he's done and what's made him successful. Let's give him a warm welcome. Hey, Chris, welcome.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks. So are we sharing my screen now? Do you want me to go into my presentation? Because one of these slides is talking about where I started and my background.
Yeah, that's what I would prefer, that you just to let the people that may not know you here, let them know who you are and how you started, and just talk about yourself a little bit first.
Sure. So I kind of pride myself on one of the few people that really have taken the time to fully grasp eBay, both from what they personally share about their selling platform, but also I've read all the blogs you could find about eBay and being a master eBay seller. I've watched a ton of YouTube videos. The tips I'm going to share today are tips that work for me, and then I've created a course about selling on eBay, and they have been proven to work for other sellers also. With that being said, I do want to put it out there that eBay is constantly changing. So I have a slide about I'll just jump forward to that, and I can kind of go back to those two slides here in a second. So this eBay journey for me started on December 26th of 2013. I've always kind of had the work from home bug. I've always wanted to be like an entrepreneur. The whole idea of being the internet lifestyle kind of person has always been attractive to me. So I've always had that bug. My first daughter was born in December of 2010. And that's kind of when I got the bug. I joke with my wife about being a full-time dad, and you were correct that I was a teacher. My wife always told me, no way, we need your pension, we'll need your salary, we'll need access to life insurance or to health insurance as we grow older. So she wasn't exactly on board with the plan. and I tried just about everything before I jumped on to eBay. I tried to blog, I did the Fiverr, I did a round on Fiverr. I do Google AdSense, and nothing was really clicking. So I thought, I sold some sports collectibles back on eBay before. I'm going to give eBay a try one more time. So my first sale for this last round of eBay came on December 26th of 2013. My wife was expecting at this point. I hit the ground running hard. My first month out of the gate was January 2013. I made $1,000. I matched my teaching salary just by grinding it, June of 2013. And then my second daughter was born in, July of 2013. And in August 2013 is the first month I actually exceeded my teaching salary. And so here we were, my non-supportive wife, it's in August, she just gave birth. So she got the pregnancy hormones going on. And, I'm having a great month in August. We're looking to go back to school. I'm already working on my classroom, and we're getting ready to put our 6-week-old into daycare. And that's when my wife looked at me and said, can you do this? And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can. And the little girl born in July, she was a little early, so our pediatrician signed off on me doing some FMLA, taking 12 weeks to kind of decide if I want to do this or not. Literally after the 4th week, I knew that I was going to be a full-time stay-at-home dad. And the 5th week is essentially when I told the school I was not coming back. So there you go. I've been a full-time stay-at-home dad because of my online adventure since August of 2000, or really September 2013.
So you kind of took the leap of faith, so to speak. I mean, yeah, I know you did it for you took an absence for a few weeks, 4 or 5 weeks from the school before you actually took the leap into this full time and gave you notice. What made you decide that or what gave you the encouragement to think that you were able to do this full time? Because I know a lot of people, I did eBay back in the 90s, and there's a strategy to eBay. A lot of people don't think there's a strategy to it, but there's a lot of strategy to it, especially if you're trying to make it, as we call, quote unquote, a full-time thing versus a hobby. And that's probably what your wife thought in the beginning, is that you're going to, you want to do this? And probably thought, she didn't take it seriously. And you really got to have a drive to want to do it and stick to it, whether it's Amazon or eBay or anything. And I commend you for that. So I kind of want to get into a little bit of when did you know? You said about 5 weeks that you the faith.
Well, so all right, so literally for 3 years, December 16th in 2010, my first kid was born, and I like I just said, like, I played online, I tried the Fiverr thing, all the things you can try. I did network marketing for a little bit, and that was a real hit with the friends and family. So I tried basically everything, and this eBay thing was working for me. Like I was making a couple extra grand a month, right out of the gate in 2013. I ran up a credit card trying all those other different things. I was able to pay that off. So I was actually on the positive side of this adventure for once in 3 years. But I would say mindset was the number one thing that guided me, and say mindset, it was knowing that it really wasn't for me. And I can tell you, like, literally down to the second of when I knew. My youngest knew that if she woke up and Daddy was home, because I taught at a middle school, so I had to be out of the house by 6 a.m. to make it to school on time. So if she woke up, she knew that she would be hanging out with Daddy. And this was a crazy rare April 1st snow day. It was a snow delay. So she woke up naturally. Daddy was home. She's a little confused why I put her into clothes. We got in the car. She really didn't think anything of it, but we drove to her daycare, and the cry she let out, like that April 1st, like with the cry she let out, it still haunts me to this day. Like, that was the second I knew. Like, I just knew that this was going to be it. There was no going back. I like to reference. Have you heard of the Spanish explorer Cortez? Have you heard of him before?
I've heard of the name.
So it's kind of crazy how things happen. So I had this very emotional morning. Like, my daughter was crying. Like, I think I had tears running down my face walking her into daycare, because I never really took her to daycare. My wife always dropped her off because she had a later start time than I did. So I pulled out of that parking lot, literally tears running down my face. Like, and I knew that was the second that I made a decision to be a full-time dad. Even though I still had months in a non-supportive wife, months in the teaching career and a non-supportive wife. But literally, like, that same day, I'm in one of my students' classrooms. I was a special ed teacher, so I would often go in their classes with them. And the 7th grade classroom was talking about Cortez. And so all of these Spanish conquistadors and other people were coming over from Europe to the New World, and they would often go back. And Cortez, when he came over, he told his captains to burn the boats. So there's no way to go back. Like, once you've made a decision, like, there's no way to go back. So that was, I heard this story, like, I'm like, oh God, today I hear this story. So that was really kind of the icing on the cake, where, all right, I'm going all in. Like, I'm going to go all in. And from that moment forward, like, I just knew that I was going to be a full-time dad. And when I thought about it myself, like, it's not just saying it, like, oh, I'm going to be a full-time dad. Like, I could close my eyes and I could smell the popcorn that I was going to have with my daughters at the local play parks. I could hear the roller coaster at our big Kings Island amusement park that's not too far from my house while I'm there with my daughters during the day. Like I just knew it. Like I could feel it. I could breathe it. And I mean, literally things just aligned for me. I had matched my teaching salary, exceeded my teaching salary. You know, it's crazy how things have just gone for me. I did the eBay stint for the longest time. Then I jumped on Amazon FBA. You fast forward to now, I have Shopify stores. I have 5 different niche eBay stores. I sell on Amazon FBA Merchant Fulfilled. I have 3 full-time virtual assistants, 1 part-time virtual assistant. So it's crazy, like the doors that'll open for you once you fully commit to on a goal. I mean, that's really what I would pinpoint it down to, mindset, just knowing that you know.
And what I tell everybody is you have to have a why. And from what I'm hearing with you, it sounds like your why was, yes, you love teaching and you love doing that and helping kids in that way. But it sounds like your why is you wanted to be home. You wanted to be home watching your kids grow up and be able to be there for them and not miss those things. That's kind of what I'm hearing. And that's where you built this foundation and you had that drive. If you have a
Yep.
why, you can do anything. And I tell everyone that I talk to is that you have to have a why. You have to have a reason that every morning you wake up to do things. Mine is my grandkid, and it's my family, and just the freedom to be able to do, you know, what I want when I want, and to help people when I want, you know. And I just like the fact that, you know, like you, I've built a lot of these things and have the freedom to do what I want and to help
Yep.
whoever I want. And I just think that people need to understand. And I think the one beauty of this too is that I don't think people really need to pay attention to this, because I don't think eBay still gets the credit that they deserve. A lot of people have jumped off that bandwagon and have gone over to Amazon in the last 5 to 10 years, but not realizing that eBay is still a viable marketplace. And here you are, you're running 5 niche stores, and you're proof of the pudding. You're sitting here saying, hey, listen, you know, Amazon is one marketplace, but hey, don't forget about eBay over here. eBay still got some things going that are very, very profitable and can be very, very good for your business. And I think they have to look at those ideas. So that's why I'm glad you're on here tonight, because I think a lot of people need to get that wake up call that yes, Amazon is a great marketplace, but you need to be able to look at other things and not put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, I mean, I'll share this because it's not like I'm, you know, this will be to other eBay and Amazon sellers, and please don't take it as me bragging, but my little, you know, me operation with my 2 daughters and VAs, we did, and I can give a screenshot for you so you can, you know, have confidence yourself. I'm not just making this up. My gross payments in PayPal last year was over 1.4 million. My Amazon business pulled in, it was over 600,000. So the majority of my business is still on eBay, the majority.
Yeah. Are you guys hearing that? The majority of Chris's business is still on eBay. How many of you can sitting here that's listening to this or is going to hear this recording can actually say that the majority of your business is still on eBay? I know I can't, because I know I'm one of those band jumpers that went over to Amazon. We do sell on eBay still, but not the volume that we did with Amazon. So it's just really refreshing to me to know that eBay is still able to pull a viable market where you guys can still make decent money over there and still use it as a profitable another outlet, you know, so like Shopify and other places like that. So I'm real interested to see what you've done, how you're doing it, and what you continue to do. And I think the audience here needs to pay attention and listen, because I think your 800,000 on eBay is quite outstanding in my mind.
Yes, I mean, and it's kind of it seems like a giant mystery, but it's not. Like once you really dive into it. So if you, I had back on this slide here. So literally, I was doing really well, and basically, my wife and I, we made a family goal. If I could just continue above my teaching salary and not having to pay for daycare, you know, even after you pay taxes and everything, this is an awesome opportunity for our family, for our girls, and for myself. But I had a huge dip at the end of 2004, and I had no idea why. Like I had more stuff sitting on inventory. than I ever had before without it turning. And I'm like, something's going on. I got to figure out what's going on. And that's really when I started going crazy with researching blogs and YouTube, reaching out to eBay itself. And then I figured out that they totally changed up their search engine. And so December 2014 is really when I started this experiment. And this is just to give you a real world example. So on the right side, there's my email in this test store. You can look starting at 417, 428, 452, 538, 714, 737. I was having constant sales. And on the left, if you look at that, my average selling price is about $64. I had 39 active listings, and I had almost $1,400 in sales in a 24-hour period. So, once you understand what eBay wants, it is so easy to give them what it wants. And I'm going to share a lot of those tips with you guys today. This is kind of really just showing you more of the test store. My first 3 months testing this stuff out, I had literally just 29 active listings. During the first whole month while I'm learning this stuff, figuring it out, I had 50 transactions, learned a little more. Second month, I had 16 transactions. And then the third month, it just really started taking off for me for 158 sales there. So kind of covered all that. All right. So Cassini launched very quietly in 2013. And just so you know, John, if I mention Cassini or eBay search engine, that's the same thing. Because what used to happen is, and this is back probably when you were selling, you wanted eyes on your listing. So that would go into keyword spamming and having codes in your listing, like flashy banners like shop now, buy here, like on all these banners, which is a bunch of code in your listing. And then let me give you an example about like keyword spamming. So the old, and I covered, I think, on the next slide. So the old search engine, you wanted eyes in your listing. So if you're selling a desk, you would go in there and you would say new 2-tier desk, and you would just throw words in there that you think people would click on: office, teacher, student, home, home use, free shipping. That is basically just spamming the daylights out of the eBay buyer. If you think about it, if you are an office manager and you want to buy an executive desk, you don't care one bit about a college dorm room desk. You don't care about a teacher desk. What you do care is that it's a black 2-tier executive solid wood office desk. So the whole thing about Cassini is they want to see click-throughs, and we'll kind of come to that in a second. So Cassini ties into multiple levels of your seller account, but the number one driving factor is going to be the buyer experience. Okay. And we're going to cover a lot of this as we go through, but I just remember that if there's one thing I need to repeat 27 times when I'm talking today, it's the number one driving factor of eBay buyers and eBay sales is the buyer experience. And I'll cover exactly what that means in a slide here or two. The great thing about eBay is it's predictable. The bad thing about eBay, it's not like people are always saying, oh, what can I do to fix my store? It's not like, okay, do this, this, and this, and sales will come flying in. There's a whole bunch of things that kind of go into the eBay buyer experience. Okay, so when we're talking about that desk, so if you keyword spam with this 2-tier office desk, teacher, student, home use, all that stuff, most eBay search pages are 50 items. So if you go to eBay and you search for a desk, it'll pull up 50 different things on that first page. Okay, so if you're getting listed on that first page and for a teacher desk, and you're really trying to sell an office desk, you are not going to get a good click-through ratio. eBay wants to see people clicking on your listing. And then furthermore, if you're one of those people that just sell everything, and that's kind of where I fell when I first started this kind of experiment, is I had this huge store with no idea of Cassini, and I would keyword spam the daylights out of my listings because I wanted eyes on them, not understanding that eBay changed with this Cassini thing, that my sales were going down. I was selling less, and my turnover ratio was going down, and that's because I was basically keyword spamming and not really realizing that that was going on. And here's an example. So this guy here, and I blocked out his name, so I'm not going to eBay shame anybody. This guy's got a store of 6,249 items. In the last 15 days, he sold only 9 items. So John, do you think that's a good sell-through ratio?
Not at all.
So, and it's simply because he's not maximizing his titles, description, his photographs, so on and so forth. So this is what eBay has perfected, in my opinion. And it's stuff that we already do as online sellers. Like we all, we kind of understand the customer's always right, provide good customer service. And then what eBay has also done for us as eBay sellers is they created this thing called the Global Shipping Program, where essentially you ship your items to a warehouse in Northern Kentucky, and then they ship it out and they handle all of the international paperwork, the duties, the taxes, the tariffs, all that stuff gets taken care of by eBay. And then eBay buyer does pay a premium for that service, but for us, we're just shipping it to Kentucky. So eBay's kind of added a whole international buyer clientele to their platform that we get to maximize. eBay is also really really great with their free shipping. They're perfectly fine you padding your price of your items as long as you're providing shipping, because to the end buyer, that looks great to them getting free shipping. And eBay even switched over their templates to really force you to be HTML light. HTML is the code, so no longer should you be clicking on eBay listings that have the big flashing banners and everything else. And the reason for that is because depending upon what month and what niche I'm in, I can tell you month after month after month, about 1/3 of my buyers are mobile users. And literally, if you're on a mobile phone and you're scrolling and nothing's loading, I mean, how long do most people wait on that web page? Maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds? So eBay has openly said, like, we're really catering to the mobile buyer. This is, we prefer it to be HTML light in your listings and whatnot. And their new listing template has eliminated a lot of the extra stuff that makes it slow on mobile. And they've even increased their picture area. Before, you could have one free picture and you'd have to pay for additional pictures, but you could put them in the description. You host them on PhotoBucket or whatever. Whole bunch of pictures there. Now eBay lets you have up to 12 pictures for free on every single listing. Okay, so breaking down the Cassini search engine, I'm going to kind of go over a couple of things. And if you have any questions, you can jump in at any time. And this will be recorded so people can kind of come back and relook at different things. But there's some specific things that eBay looks for. And I would say the 3 biggest places that eBay looks for things, and if you're on Amazon, it goes the same thing on Amazon. Like, you want your title to be very important and relevant to the actual item you're listing, and you want your bullet points at the top of the Amazon listing to be very relevant and important to the consumer. So eBay is the same way. Their title your title has to be very specific to your item. You no longer want to have eyes on your listing that do not click through. You want to be very specific. If you're selling an executive desk, you do not want the teacher and dorm and home, kids, anything that's not related to the executive desk on your title. The second thing, have you been on an eBay listing recently?
I have, yeah.
John, you?
Yeah, we still.
Yeah, so whether it's on mobile or it's on the actual website, they have the title at the top, and then just below the actual description piece, there's a little area called item specifics, and in there you can add anything that you think is important. And I like to just say, like, think about what's important to you as a consumer. Is it light? Is it heavy? Is it brown? Is it gray? Some people really care about where was it manufactured? What's the length? What's the width? What's the shipping weight? You can add all that stuff in there. And then also, your first 100 words of your actual description, and which is about 215 characters, give or take, that is where people, or what eBay will scan your listing. So if you go to eBay and you're looking for a dog bowl with a bone on it, you want to make, and you're selling that, you want to make sure that you have, blue aqua dog bowl bone as your title. And I also would double dip in your item specifics and have, the color aqua, print dog bone, item, so you can double dip on all those different things. And then I would also put those very important things on your first 100 words. And the most important thing, I think, is to get as many important features of your items listed in one of those three areas. A great example is something submersible. Like that should be at the top, because if somebody's specifically looking for something submersible, they'll want that. If something requires batteries, I would make sure that's somewhere, because no one would search for batteries, but in item specifics or in the first 100 words of your description, talking about it needing batteries or all that. Dropship. Let's listen to it. I think it's 2-day auctions or 3-day auctions, 7-day auctions, 10-day auctions, 30-day auctions. What I suggest doing is, once you find a good seller, is have it set to good till canceled. That way, it basically stays on eBay, renews itself every 30 days. When I list something new, I try to list it for 30 days. And then if it sells, I should probably say too that my entire business model is based off of perishables and consumables and basically stuff I can resell. I no longer go thrifting or do any of that stuff. When people think eBay, like they think of thrift stores. I buy directly from manufacturers, and once something sells, I just keep replenishing that product. And some the manufacturers ship for me because they're large, heavy items, and that's why I talk about like going into niche stores, because you really can get specific and have way less competition. And can really brand your store as a themed store using a different niche store. So all my items are basically replenishable items. Nothing is one of a kind. I was out thrifting today, or I was at the flea market. I got these things. They're basically all stuff that once I get the listing up, I can keep selling off the listing over and over again. So with using my model, I list things for 30 days. I'll buy one. Sometimes I even use it myself. I take original photographs as much as I can, and then once it sells, I just keep replenishing that item over and over again. And if it didn't sell, I find out why. Often my keywords are horrible, or they don't relate to the product, or I'm overpriced. I find out, oh wow, I'm actually $5 more expensive than the most expensive person right now. And I'll do this twice. I'll go through this process twice. If I list something and it doesn't sell 30 days, I'll list it again after I tweak it, whether it's better pictures, better terms, better price. If it doesn't sell again, I do not buy that product. I go ahead and just ditch the product.
Hey, Chris, were you saying a few seconds ago that your manufacturers will, because you replenish, you have some that will drop ship for you? Did I hear that?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, I have one that is based in South Carolina, and I have one based in California that they literally will ship to my customer. They love it because I handle 100% of the customer service, and I love it because I don't got to physically stock and or ship items in my store. They do not want to sell on eBay. They do not want to sell on Amazon. I actually have, there's definite caveats to that, and that's just one of my stores. There's definite caveats to that model. It's great that I'm not touching the product or shipping it. The bad thing is that sometimes I won't know something when I have stock, and I'll sell it once or twice before I get an email from the corporate office saying this is no longer in stock.
What about the obstacle of eBay's guidelines as far as eBay saying it has to be shipped in a certain amount of time?
It's negotiated with the contract with the corporate office. They have 48 hours to ship a product. That's the other thing too. Like you and I are talking here. I'm just a little guy, like in my man cave right now. But in an email with I have a PO box. I fill out extra paperwork to have my PO box listed as an address. So when I'm sending an email to a potential manufacturer to sell my stuff, like I come across as a legitimate business. I would say, "Dear sir, madam, my name is Christopher Smith. I'm one of the lead buyers for my LLC's company. I'm interested in selling your products. I don't mention ever that I'm an online seller only. Can I have a sales rep contact me? And at the end, I was sincerely Christopher Smith and the company name, and then I'll even put I'm in Kentucky, my Kentucky license there. So if I'm a big company, I was like, let's send a sales rep to, let's get this guy a catalog and whatnot. And then after that, we'd establish if it's a good working relationship. Are they willing to ship to my customers? Can I have access to their real-time inventory? I have one company that it's like those vaping things. This guy is going crazy for me to sell his stuff on eBay. As a personal decision, I'm just not, I don't know, I want that as one of my business models. But once you've established yourself as someone that can manage the customers and have cash flow to cover like your invoices and whatnot, most companies will work with you. So that's a really cool thing once you're, a real company and you can do that. So yeah, I negotiate that. Like with the two companies I currently use for that model, if they get the order and within 24 hours, I get an email back with a tracking number, and within 48 hours, it's shipped via FedEx. So like I negotiate that.
And you're basically running niche stores too, which means you're not doing any variety across the board of anything. You're kind of drilling down, which Amazon likes those item specifics to be, like a niche type thing. So that probably.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said that's probably giving you a lot more exposure and a lot more search availability from Amazon, because the fact is that what you're targeting, like for instance, if you were selling shoes, like we sell shoes on eBay, and that's all we do is sell shoes. So it's a target niche, and that type of thing, we get real good targeted audiences, because what we sell is what they're looking for. They're not coming into a shoe store and buying a dog toy.
Well, that's exactly my point. And when people talk to me about like their eBay business, I literally say, like, find a niche, find a brand, like build a brand. At this point, I don't even call my eBay stores my eBay store name. I refer to it as one of my brands. Like, this is a brand I'm building. I'm at a point where I've backed up my eBay stores onto social media, and I sell T-shirts with my brand's logo on it. So I mean, it's your brand. Like, this is not just your eBay store. And when you brand your store or you make it a niche store, I found without a doubt that I have way more repeat buyers. Number one. Number two, I have people buying more than one item than I ever did before. So if we'll go back to the dog example. If I'm selling dog bowls and my eBay store is all about dogs or whatever, it's probably already taken, just so you know. I would have dog toys, I would have dog leashes, I would have dog, kennels if I could find someone to ship those for me. I would have all these different dog items in that niche, and I guarantee you're going to get people coming there looking for a leash, but they end up buying the stake, the leash, the collar, and a toy, a throw toy, all in one checkout, versus the previous model of just having everything you picked up on clearance at Walmart with your flea market stuff, so on and so forth. And just to reiterate, like that wholesale model, or not wholesale model, that thrifting model still works for tons of people. It's just for my lifestyle, my commitment to my daughter at school and whatnot. Like, I can no longer go into thrift stores and scan books for Amazon or find awesome flips for eBay. I just can't do that in my model. So I've created a model where I can find different. Here's a great example. So like, I'm going to give you some killer tricks here. So this right here, it's a grooming directory for dogs. So people are always asking me, like, where do you find new suppliers? Where do you find people to work with you? So this is the back page in this trade magazine, which I get for free. It's got all of these different suppliers that are looking to sell their products to other dog companies. So like this is a great example of where I find different suppliers that are willing to work with me. If you're a small startup company and you don't want to personally be on eBay or Amazon, will you work with somebody that is? Will you work with a company in Kentucky? I literally had people or companies have me buy like a pallet or two pallets of their items, and after like my third or fourth big order, they'll finally say, like, "Oh, do you have physical locations?" And I'll say, "Oh no, I sell on eBay." And then I've only had one ever have an issue with that.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, hey guys, you guys are putting the questions in the Q&A. Can you put the questions in the Zoom webinar chat, because I try to copy and paste it and send it along with the recording so that you guys will have the chat also. So it's very important. Zoom doesn't do that. They don't have that feature. So in order for me to be able to give you guys the chat, I copy it and I send it along with the recording. So I'm going to go over some of the questions you have in the Q&A now, but if you could just put them in the chat, that would be great. All right, so we're going to answer a couple of questions here for you. Chris Cobb says,
Sure.
do you have one account with multiple stores or multiple accounts?
All right, so with eBay, eBay is different than Amazon. Amazon, their terms of service say you can have one selling account. There are exceptions, but Amazon, it's one selling account. eBay says you can have as many stores as you want. The caveat is each individual store has to have their own name, and each store has to have their own unique PayPal account. And PayPal currently has a rule that you can only have 7 emails per PayPal account. So if you want to stay within their terms of service, you're kind of capped at 7.
Okay. Grant says, what about selling using FBA multi-channel fulfillment over to eBay?
Yeah, I don't know, John, if you have an affiliate account with Joe Lister, but a lot of people I work with use a program called Joe Lister that will literally take your items from Amazon FBA, list them on eBay for you. The problem that I find with that is that it's not Cassini friendly. It's not, I mean, it gets them on eBay and that's what you want. But if you want them to sell over and over and over, like a replenishable product, you have to go do the listing yourself.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, there is a service out there too called Auto MCF that does that. It's not a cheap service, but Auto MCF actually does that and does work with replenishables. If you sell something on eBay, they will take it off your inventory. So they're out there. They're called Auto MCF if anybody wants to find out about them. And I'm not promoting them or I'm not an affiliate of them. I'm just telling you that they're out there and there are people that use them.
Yeah, and I'm not an affiliate of Joe Lister either, but they do have an affiliate program. Yeah, so if in my model, like, am I allowed to mention like other gurus in our niche? Is that approved?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so I'm a big follower of a guy named Jim Cockrum. He's My Silent Team. I attended his a big event last year, and then this year, and then last year. I don't want to bore you with like my story, but so I was able to get free of my job in 2013. I built more of my business. I was able to start a coaching course for Amazon FBA. Then I got another coaching course going for eBay. Now I'm selling on all these different channels. What ended up happening to me in 2015 is I created another job for myself. So now I'm a full-time dad, and I have all these different responsibilities. I have eBay messages, Amazon messages, eBay orders, orders being emailed to corporate offices that are selling for me. I was doing great, and I was going to do about 20 grand more than my teaching salary that year. But I was burnt out. I was staying up late every night. During the day, I was trying to sneak more and more times away from my kids to answer some emails and get some stuff done than I ever intended. So the money was good. The trade-off was I had no time. And just as I heard the Cortez thing, this is when I started seeing the Jim Cochran big event coming up last year. And I bought it. I told my wife, like, I really think I need to go to this. I need to find some clarity here because right now this isn't working. I'm getting crazy burnt out. And one of the big things that I took away from that first event that I went to was if you don't want to do it, don't. Find technology or find a person to do that work for you. And that's really right when I hired my first virtual assistant. So right now, oh, did I get dropped?
No, you're here.
Okay, I got the Zoom connecting thing came up. So I think on my end, internet might have dropped.
Yeah, I can.
But so what happened for me was that's when I hired my first virtual assistant, and the first job I got off my plate was I'm having all these orders shipped on Amazon and on eBay from a manufacturer, was copying and pasting tracking numbers. That was so tedious, and literally that was about 25 hours off of my plate that instantly got taken away. I was paying someone 40 hours, but what I was paying them, like to get 25 of my hours back, was without a doubt like one of the smartest moves I ever could have made with that. And then not only that, I discovered Feedback Genius, which started sending automated emails to my Amazon buyers. I found another program called
I think we kind of lost it.
eBay. I forget what it's called. The actual thing is called, but it sent automated messages to my eBay buyers, so on and so forth. So like that's really where you're going to make this model pop, is finding technology, finding services, finding companies, finding VAs, finding an actual like local employee that will do this work for you. So like right now, I maybe spend maybe 7 hours a week doing taping myself. The rest of the time, some other company, somebody else is packaging and shipping the stuff being sold to my buyers.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, we can hear you, but I don't see your presentation anymore.
Yeah,
Make sure your video's up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back into Google or my email to get that back up.
All right. Sorry, guys. Bear with us while Chris is having technical difficulties on his end.
I'll just keep talking while
yeah, you can keep talking while you're trying to get that back. That's great.
Yeah. So the question I think what was the question? The last question you asked?
Let me get it. Hang on. It was what about selling using FBA multi-channel fulfillment over to eBay? I think we kind of.
Yeah, you can do that. And that model works for a lot of people. It's I would just say that for you have to be on top of it. Like it doesn't decrease your accountability. Like you still have eBay messages to answer. You still have tracking that you have to make sure flows over from Amazon to eBay. That's the same thing with my model. Instead of it being Amazon to eBay, it is my supplier to eBay. And that's what I hired a virtual assistant for, to take that part away. I'm going to plug in my DSL cable. For some reason, I'm not getting a signal on my internet here. Shows you how polished I am, huh? See that?
You know what? These things are live, so a lot of times, things happen. To me, that's the beauty of keeping it real. Because
another question I answered?
Yeah, let's see. We got another question here. Let's see. Let me pull something up. What five niche markets are you running?
Well, I always push for the home and garden. And I've kind of found that the magic sweet spot for me is really under $60. So if you think about it, anything that you could pick up in your home, your garden, your garage is a good niche. I would coach my students to be a good niche. And when you really think about it, most people, if they're spending under $20, don't really give it a second thought. They often simply just make the purchase. So that's where I would coach people. I would say. That's what I would say. So I would definitely stick with the. I should be coming right back online. I'm clicking some buttons real fast.
Yeah, looks like you're coming. It says Chris. Yep, you're back. Yay! I see your presentation. We don't see you, but I see your presentation. There you are.
I changed my.
There you go.
Okay, so I'm back in my man cave. Yeah, so my niches are stuff I'm passionate about. Like I would also say that if you have a hobby or a niche, like you're going to get added fuel to being excited about that niche, which I think flows into your store. Like, you know, I'm a former teacher. I coach wrestling. I like to work out. My daughter plays soccer. So really anything that impacts your life, I think is a great niche because you're going to have experience with the products. You're going to understand the product line. You know, if you love dogs, dogs are a great niche. If you love pets, you love fish. Like really any niche you could think of that you're passionate about would be something that I would encourage people to do.
Absolutely. Let's get back to keep you going with your presentation.
Okay. So pictures is another thing. Like I try to use my own content as much as possible. I try to take pictures of the item. Like I'll buy a brand new item, I'll take pictures of it, and I'll use those for my eBay listing, because eBay and Google love original content. If I ever use a stock photo, I make sure it's still original. I'll use Pixlr.com, and I'll flip the picture. You literally just can flip it 180, and it'll turn the picture. As long as there's not words on the picture, it'll look like the regular picture, and eBay and Google will consider that original content. If you're doing that, whether with your picture or with a stock photo, I also use a program called Jing, where you can zoom in on different areas of the item and showcase a feature. A great example is I sell something that it's a construction item that can be used on a job site. I looked at all my competitors. There's probably about 12 people selling the same product on eBay. Not one of them had a picture of the item on a job site. So I literally took a picture of it on a job site. And then I zoomed in on it saying like, look, it's connectable here, blah, 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 blah. So I make my content as pictures as another extension of my description. My pictures stand alone. Like you can look at my pictures and know what you're getting for the most part. You need at least 4 good pictures with your eBay listings. If you're struggling to find 4, I always cheat and I Google a satisfaction guaranteed template on Google. I find one that I can use, and I have that to be my 3rd picture. And then my 4th picture, I always have it be free shipping in the United States, the continental United States. So as long as you can get at least 2 pictures on the front end, those 2 on the back end, you have your at least 4. eBay openly says that. Listings with 4 pictures or more get pushed to the top. You can add up to 12. If you can fill up 12, I would add 12 every single time. I'm going to give you my variation on something with the features. I had a jack that I was selling. It's actually discontinued now, but I found a manufacturer selling it really cheap, and not one of my competitors had a picture of the handle. It had a special grip handle that nobody else was showing, so I made a picture about the extended handle on one, and then another one, a close-up of the handle, and lo and behold, my sales increased on the item because I showcased the key important features for people on that item.
Hey,
any questions on pictures?
Well, there is not a question, but somebody, Chris asked, can you go back to the previous slide and explain the points? I think when we lost you, you were on a slide and she wanted to know the points, if you could explain them.
For the duration slide?
I'm not sure. She's not saying if it's duration. She just said, can you go back to the previous? It was the pictures, she said.
The pictures?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just covered them now.
Okay, so I think you just did that. So I think that we're good. Someone else has a question. Adele has a question. What does flip the picture mean?
Like you would take this slide and flip it, like here, stapler. Flip the picture, makes it look like this. You see the difference?
Yeah, it just means different angles of it. It's kind of like what I do with my shoes.
Yeah,
we take 12 pictures. And
and that's really for the stock pictures. If you go on to onto Amazon and they're selling mead rulers, the stock pictures are all going to be of this mead ruler, a white background, so on and so forth. But if there's a way that you could flip it and have it look like that, and then eBay says it's a unique photograph, then you could flip it this way again, right. That it's considered original content. What Google, because a lot of my traffic comes from Google because of original content, and especially with pictures. So if you're selling the same old stapler over and over and over, the same old jack over and over and over, like a car jack, so I'm talking about, and everyone's using the exact same stock photos from the manufacturer to sell that jack, whether it's on Amazon or eBay or the manufacturer's website. Everyone is using the same stock photos. So what Google loves is original content. So if you can create unique pictures for that item, like I did with the handle, you're going to get pushed to the top of the images. So if someone searches for the name brand of that jack and then photos, images on Google, if yours is original content like mine was, they'll get pushed to the top. So literally my eBay listing And because it's listed as good to canceled, it never leaves eBay. It's on eBay until I literally end the listing. And then because that's a permanent link, my pictures on Google Images link directly to my eBay listing. It's just like a little technique that I've kind of figured out. Same with eBay. If you have unique pictures and you're getting click-throughs, so yeah, with the generator I was talking about earlier, the job site generator, and what I did is I put, everyone's got the picture with the white background of the generator. What I did is I took my generator on a job site, and I photographed it, and I put that as my first picture. So everyone else has got this stock photo, and I really focused on the picture being site ready. And then my title, my first 2 keywords were job site ready generator. My first 3 keywords were that. So that's kind of what I'm talking about, is unique content. And if you have to flip the picture to get that, I would do that using a stock photo.
Great. All right, we can continue.
That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely, it does.
Okay, so the other important thing people forget about on eBay is competition. And, whether you're selling a baseball card, a stuffed animal, or a consumable product or a renewable product like the stuff I sell, price is important. Price has nothing to do with eBay, not one single thing to do with eBay with Cassini, but it's so important to your consumer. And I'll kind of give you my example of how I use price to drive sales in the beginning and then continue to get sales after I raise the price. So I always try to list at the lowest. Like if people are selling it for $17.99 or whatever, I'll come in at $17.95 right when I sell it out of the gate to get some sales under my listing. And then secondly, before I buy stuff, especially like on a case level, I find out how many sellers are on a listing. If I go to sell something that is on clearance at Walmart and I can buy 56 of them, and I'm like, oh wow, I can buy 56 of these. I can either do FBA with them or put them on eBay or do both. I check my competition. If there's the same thing on Amazon, if I click on a listing FBA and it's got 37 FBA sellers, I'm going to put that right back on the shelf. If I go to eBay and I find 30 people selling the same thing, I'm going to pass on it too. I try to find stuff with less competition and kind of go from there. Now, regarding price, I want you to look at the following example with using a promotional tool. So if you're selling a $10 item and you charge $5 shipping, your price is $15. Now eBay, I've already shared, eBay pushes stuff with free shipping higher than stuff that charges shipping because to the consumer it's perceived higher value. So your end price is $15 with you charging $10 per item and $5 for shipping. If you do $15 with free shipping, your item is still selling at $15. To keep going with that promotional concept, if you have a $20 item with free shipping with 25% combo or promotional code, your item is still $15. So all 3 examples there, you're getting the profit you want of $15, but with the bottom example, you're going to get the boost on Cassini for free shipping, and you're going to get a boost again for having a promotion on that item. It gets pushed all the way to the top. So I highly encourage people to not only use free shipping, but also use the promotional tool on eBay. And then lastly on this side for terms, like if I found one item that, this one guy was like $2 more than me. When I was like, why the heck is he selling more than me? I couldn't figure out why. I looked at his terms. He allows 60-day returns. I was allowing 14 days. If you're a consumer and you could buy something with a 60-day exchange policy versus a 14-day return for refund policy, which one would you go for? And I think most of us would agree that the 60-day exchange policy is way more appealable than that. So I would say know your competition on the stuff you're selling. Price, as I said before, it's on a Cassini metric. So this is exactly what I do. I list below everyone else, and then I keep increasing the price every few sales. So I have a great example of another job site item that I sell. I still sell this one, so I'm not going to give you any hints of what it is I'm $5 higher right now, and I own the search 3 different ways that any consumer would buy the item. And it's because I started below everybody else. Every couple sales, I increased it. And I'm still testing that theory, but I'm going to go to these next couple of slides really tying to the price aspect of it and increasing it, and goes into really how I can own that listing, when you go on eBay, you're going to find my listing. If you punch in these 3 keywords, these 4 keywords, these 2 keywords, you're going to find my listing, and I'll kind of go into why.
Hey, Chris,
so the first thing I like,
before you
sure, go ahead.
Before you touch on that, I have a question from Kathy. Says, I think
Sure.
Chris was saying that eBay likes to create your own listing manually, doesn't like Joe Listed to do it. She just wants to know if she understood that right.
The Joe Lister template is fine, but if you're going deep into item specifics and maximizing your titles, keywords, Joe Lister does not do that. Joe Lister, like if the person who listed the item on Amazon originally, you know how like we're kind of all stuck to the Amazon template.
Right. If
the person who listed that on Amazon has very, very poor keywords, that exact title floats over to eBay. So instead of saying the stapler on Amazon, it could say stapler. So your title on eBay would be stapler, but what you would want your title to be for this would be it's heavy duty steel, home office, stapler, solid black. So like you'd want all those in your title. Because if you want someone looking for a black stapler, they'd find it. If you want someone looking for a home office stapler, they'd find it. If you want someone looking for a heavy duty stapler, they'd find it. So you want all of your keywords relevant to your item listed in the title, and whatever is on Amazon as a title, and you use Joe Lister or any other program, it literally just takes the title from Amazon. So does that clarify that question?
Yeah, I think that does. We have a couple more here before because it's right on the section that you're at. Do you sell any private label? Grant wants to know.
That's the next thing. That's just chapter 17. We're still on 15. No, but what I've done very, very successfully is I've created combos. So, you know, I've kind of figured out my 2 best-selling dog items is this one bowl and this one snack or whatever. I combine them and I maximize both of my best-selling items in one listing. If you think about that, like that covered anything from kitchen utensils. You know, you can buy the individual utensils, you can buy the jar. Why don't you sell the jar with the utensils in one listing? And you know, you can charge a little bit of premium for that. So like I don't do private label right now, but I do a version of that where I create my own unique content.
Yeah, we do. We sold about 1.8 million in private label. We do some on eBay, but mostly it's an Amazon type thing. Bill wants to know, what do you consider low competition?
Well, I'm not afraid to jump in if there's like even 15 sellers an item, because I understand eBay. Like I can almost guarantee you that my 15 other sellers are the pickers, the resellers, the whatnot, that don't understand the entire idea of photographs and content and keywords and item specifics and item details, so on and so forth. So I would still consider like 10 and under low competition.
Great. All right, let's get back to your slides. How many slides you have left? I want to make sure we get this all in.
Scarcity. Not very many.
Okay.
Not very many at all.
All right, we're gonna stick with the slides for a little bit now, so we can get to the nitty gritty of this, so people can get the information.
A big thing for me is promoting scarcity. So this is so important. So once the way eBay works is if you search for death, if you get seen and not clicked, that goes in the other way. However, if you get clicked on, that'll rank you higher. And then if you get clicked on and then someone buys it, you get ranked even higher. For that desk. So this is how I maximize that other item with 3 different searches. If you get clicked on, they buy it and leave positive feedback, that gets you even higher. If you have a listing like I have where I have evidence. So on eBay right now, if you sell something over and over, it'll look just like it does on my screen. It'll say 101 sold. Okay, so that literally gives you the evidence that it's a quality product, you're a quality seller, it's sold over and over again. Now, John, I'll ask you, if you're looking at that top one and bottom one, which one gives you a little more angst to buy right now?
If I'm looking at the two listings, though, more than
Yeah,
two.
which one do you feel like you have to buy right now?
Well, if I was looking at the two, I would probably look at the one that said only two available, because it looks like there's scarcity, there's not that much product.
Exactly. So that's why I suggest to everyone is to list good till cancel, because you keep all of your previous sales listed on that item, and then even if it goes out of stock, like there's a way that you can get those to stay there without the item totally ending. So try to keep both my sales history, but also give that sense of urgency to my buyers. And I use a specific program, and there's no affiliate thing of this. It's called Quantity Manager. So what it does is it keeps your displayed inventory at whatever number you think it is. And for me, I've tinkered with one, I've tinkered with three, and two is probably the magic number for me. Like people often buy my two all the time. They'll last in stock, but I think it's about to run out of stock. Meanwhile, on the back end of it, I'll actually be showing like, oh, I have 20 in stock, or I have 30 in stock, or 200 in stock. So I use Quantity Manager to have that set display on my listing there. I love it because it hides your actual inventory. It creates a scarcity. They have an option where it will automatically relist your items that sell, like without you clicking anything. So there's one time when I sold something literally 4 times out of stock, and it relisted by the time I woke up the next day. It sold like around midnight. Someone bought it around 3 a.m. Someone bought it at 5, and someone bought it around 9 a.m. the next morning. So I sold 8 units in an overnight example without me ever relisting or anything like that. And all of that pushes your item higher and higher up on that on the eBay search engine. So that's why I love it, because you don't do anything. The pricing last I checked was $99 per month per year. I would, without a doubt, recommend using this if you're going to invest part of your business into eBay. eBay has this out of stock option. So if you're selling, you got a whole bunch of Elvis cups, you have 50 of them. If you put one up just to test it, if you have this selected and if the listing is a good till cancel listing, this will not remove your search history. Because right now, if I just go put something on eBay and it sells, the item is ended. There's no getting credit or getting social proof or proof from my buyer that I can sell this over and over again. With this checked, you'll be able to show your buyers that, wow, this sells over and over again, and there's only 2 left using the previous Quantity Manager trick too. So I really just it never lets your history go, even if it goes down to 0. Okay, so this is kind of pulling it all together, the full picture. So if you get pulled up, if someone searches dog bowl or desk or jack or whatever, if you get pulled up on that first 50, you get an impression. And if you get a click through, or if you get an impression and a click through, that gets you a bump up. If they click through, buy it, it gets you a higher bump. If you click through, buy it, positive feedback, it gets you even higher bump. You get the proof of having sales history, and then going back to that first thing I said about the most important thing to eBay right now is that buyer experience. So the more times you sell it, the more times you get positive feedback, the higher and higher you're going to be. So that's how I'm literally able to be, and eBay openly tell you too that most people click on one of the top 3 items. So if you can somehow crack the top 3 in a listing, a specific search term listing, you can own that item, and the cycle will just keep going. More sales, more clicks, more buys, more positive feedback. It's just, you'll own that top spot. So that is totally separate of price. So that's why I say you can actually be higher than your competition on eBay, but if you own that top spot, that top spot, you'll get sales over and over and over again. And I think that's yeah. So we'll just skip that. So yeah, this will be the last part here, but I can answer questions before we talk about this stuff if you'd like.
Let's see. You have to. Let's see. What would be? What plan be you only have onesies and twosies of an item? That's from Adele. So I guess she's saying, what
I'm sorry.
if you have only onesies and twosies of an item?
For like, I'm not understanding the question.
I think she's kind of asking if you only have onesies and twosies of an item, what plan would you have for that, for selling it? I guess.
I'd follow the same steps, but I would just sell two. And that's what I used to do. But the effort, it's same thing with Amazon. The effort it takes to create one new listing or list an item on eBay is the same effort it takes something that you can sell over and over again, where you can have a stock of 500. So that's why I no longer go out and scan at retail stores or do thrifting at Goodwill or whatever. I just try to find replenishables.
She clarified it too. It was Adele. She said, in other words, do you have to have a lot of each item? I guess is what she was saying.
You don't have to. I mean, there's a guy in that Jim Cochran group named Jeffrey Clark. He's hilarious. B, he's a good guy. But he has his kids are all grown, and he does the thrifting model. Like he's had some amazing killer sales where he'll pick up a book for $3 and he'll flip it because it's a highly specialized book onto Amazon or eBay for like $80-$90. And I've seen some of his stuff where he's bought something for like $20, flipped it for like 300. So that model works if you can get that model to work. I just don't have that time. Like I literally because I'm a stay-at-home dad now, my wife thinks I can do everything. So on Mondays we have soccer practice. On Tuesday we have swim lessons. On Wednesday my youngest has dance during the day, has tumbling at night, or my kindergartner has soccer practice and I'm the coach. On Thursday, my kindergartner's got tumbling. On Friday, it's Girl Scouts. On Sundays, it's Discovery Imagination thing. So with kids and their schedules and me trying to hit to the gym once a day or so, I can't do that thrifting model anymore. So you have to find a model that works for you. For me, that's just not something I can get to work. So my model is really targeted to being able to buy in bulk and sell one at a time and not having to be taping myself.
Looks like that's all the questions we have for right now. So if you want to finish up what you're doing, it's been a pleasure having you here, Chris. Real excited about the eBay model that you put together. I know that you have some things. You have an eBay course that you teach too, and you have a presentation that you put together, or a one-time discount for the audience here for coming on today. You're graciously giving them a pretty good discount if they decide that they want to do this and decide that they want to learn from you based on your teachings of what you teach. Then there's the opportunity here that they have that you're offering them. So why don't you go into that a little bit?
Well, I have a blog where I kind of talk about just anything I'm doing at the time. So if you ever want to learn more about me or just kind of see what I'm doing, just check out my blog at chrissmithblog.com. I think most of my stuff on there now is T-shirts. I design shirts. This one says Friday, and it's got a picture of fries. So that's my newest business venture, and it's a lot more fun than tools and dog bowls. So yeah, so my blog has got all the stuff I do. I give a lot of free content, both Amazon, eBay, merch, Shopify is all stuff all on my blog you'll see. My eBay course is called Ninja Auction Secrets. If you go to the main website, you'll see a whole bunch of testimonials from people that have purchased my course, been my students, and bought the course. If you go to ninjaauctionsecrets.com/Bullard, you'll be able to save $100. I charge $197 day in and day out for my eBay course. For you guys, I'll knock $100 off, so it'll be one time for $97. We have a Facebook support room that has a bunch of other proven eBay sellers in there. So it's not like guaranteed 24/7 support, but really, if you have an eBay question, you post it in that group. Myself or somebody that's been a student of the course will be able to answer with integrity. So you get the course. Any new content I put out goes into my course also. I think right now we're up to, like, I want to say 35 different modules where I cover all this stuff and more stuff in depth. And then I have a whole section on bonus tips where you can, increase your listings using Pinterest and adding signatures to your eBay store, which can link you back to a website where you can get sales without paying the eBay fee, so on and so forth. So all that's included in my course for the one-time fee of $97.
You guys have any last minute questions for Chris while we still have him here? We're running a little bit longer than normal, but we'll answer a couple more questions if you have them for him. Otherwise, we're just going to call it a night and thank Chris for being here.
I just got...
You say something? You kind of froze for a second.
Oh, I said if I'm in your Facebook group too, so if anybody has a follow-up question or they don't want their names on the webinar, feel free to just ask it in your Facebook group and just tag me.
All right. Hey, Chris, hopefully I'll see you. Are you going to Orlando this year for CES 5?
My plan is to. I was at 3 and 4. I did not know about 1 and 2, but my plan is to be at 5. It's the one thing I've kind of insisted to my wife that I need to be at every year. So the plan is yes.
And I kind of well, it's a great place to network. I actually spoke at 1 and 2, the ones that you missed.
Okay. Awesome.
But I went to 3 too. I missed 4 because of my situation with my heart, when I had my heart attack. But I'm planning on hopefully going to the one in Orlando this year. I haven't made a decision whether or not I'll be there or not, but I'm planning on going there. I know we had one more question that was up a little ways further, and I kind of missed it, and I apologize for that. Somebody wanted to know if you used prep centers. I don't remember who said it, but somebody asked that.
There are 2 within driving distance of my home, and I have not pulled the trigger on that. And honestly, the main reason, actually, hold on for one small second. I'll just show you what I'm talking about versus describing it.
Yeah, and you know that I own one.
You do?
Yeah, and you're not that far from me.
Okay. Yeah. So, what the eBay has really done a great job of eBay was the big deal. They had the Super Bowl commercials in early 2000s. They were the thing. Amazon was still just a book thing, and Amazon went crazy. And I think eBay over the past really 2 years has done a phenomenal job of really taking the side of their sellers while growing their market base again, giving us more options with the global shipping stuff, but they've even gone as far to give you free supplies when you sell on their platform. So I get all these free envelopes to sell, to pack my stuff. So one of the little tricks that I do to build my metrics really fast is positive feedback is I buy small things that I can buy in bulk and sell over and over again. Let's see if I can find one real fast. So I have a toy wholesaler not far from my house, and these are just some card game. I'm paying 99 cents for them, but they sell for like $12 a piece. I bought the whole pallet, and it's something small that fits in my eBay jackets. And literally, it's just printing a label, slapping a label on, dropping it off at the post office. Like I said, I probably spend maybe 45 minutes a day doing that, and that just blows up my feedback and my metrics. I do it both on Amazon and eBay. To ship smaller stuff from my house. But so no, I don't use a prep center. I literally about a month ago was a second away from pulling a trigger on buying a closeout lot from Walgreens, but my wife talked me out of it.
Yeah, it says Grant wants to know, what does your wife do, Chris, when you're making all that money?
Spends it.
Yeah. All right. Linda says, I look forward to is it important for a prep center to be physically close by? That's a good question.
It all depends what your model is. I mean, if I'm doing a closeout lot, which is a Walgreens, like the one that I almost bought, as a general rule, and you would have more experience in this, but as a general rule, like 60% of the merchandise is FBA able, and I'll equate that over to being sold on eBay as brand new. The 40% is not, because they're opened or defective or whatever. And for me, I thought it'd be important for me to be able to have access to inventory versus just telling John's staff at his prep center to destroy it for me. In part because I do a lot with my daughter's school. If I'm buying a Walgreens home and toy lot, and I could have a chance to give 3,000 units to her school to do whatever they want with, whether it's their Christmas giveaway or it's give to the needy or whatever, that would be really cool for me if they're just slightly damaged packaging and whatnot. So for me, for what I would want to do in my life is give back more. That'd be important to me. But I don't. I would go with which makes financially sense. I mean, you have to weigh your own decisions on what you consider most important. Is the bottom dollar most important to you? Is giving back important to you? Is having somewhat access to your supply chain? Is that important to you? If you're just going for bottom dollar, you could pick the cheapest one in a tax-free state and do it that way. But for me, if I was going to pull the trigger on that model, I would want to be able to have access to the discarded inventory.
Yeah, and my answer to that is, does a prep center have to be close by? In my experience, no. And I've been doing this the longest of any of the prep centers around. We were the first one to come on board for FBA. We have clients all over the world, and they're not close by. I guess the eBay model, if you were using that global shipping type deal, you'd probably want to be as close to Kentucky as you could for shipping. But as far as a prep centers are all over the country. We're located in Tennessee, and I like where we're located because we're centrally located, and we've got 12 to 13 Amazon warehouses around us. So the chances of something going close to us are pretty good, although you don't and we don't have control of where Amazon wants to send it. Amazon ultimately is going to send it where they want for the Amazon platform. eBay is a little bit different, but I don't really think it has to be close to you. I just think that you have to weigh the differences. Did you work that into your pricing structure where you could afford to use a prep center and make money still? And then do you want to trade time for money, or do you want, and have somebody else do it for you? To me, I look at it as my clients, it's more important for them to be able to build their businesses, not touch it, not see it, not do anything other than pay for it when they purchase it, and continue to grow their businesses and kind of outsource that process so that you can grow quicker. That's just my take on it from my experience.
Yeah, the other thing too about me shipping stuff from my home, it kills my metrics, in a positive way. But my 3-year-old loves it. She literally thinks it's so much fun to do packages with me, and I'm willing to bet the second that I do not have a little toddler enjoying that process, that I will no longer be shipping stuff from my home. I will outsource that also. So this is being brutally honest there. That she likes it. It's something that I can do relatively fast. I'm good at it, fast at it. But that could be 7 hours spent on my business doing something I truly enjoy versus, mailing packages.
Somebody else had a question here about envelopes. I don't know where I saw it. Oh, how do you request envelopes, etc., from eBay for free?
If you have an eBay store, depending upon your subscription level, you get up to $100 in free eBay supplies every quarter. So I have I'll run and get the tape too. The tape's pretty cool. But you can get all these different size of padded envelopes. There's eBay tape. There's eBay branded boxes. I'll grab one of those too. I'm very fortunate that we have an unfinished basement that I've converted into my home gym / mini warehouse. But you can get eBay branded boxes. There's eBay branded tape. So they've done a really good job of making their website more visible to the consumer to build brand recognition. I can guarantee this is in response to Amazon Smile being on all the boxes, Yeah, and I have extra supplies if anybody wants some. with the 5 knit stores, and
there you go.
You can only spend so much on eBay packing tape before you have too much.
All right, guys, great questions. A lot of good questions here for Chris. And Chris has got the screen up here. If you want to follow him on his blog, he's got his blog up there on the screen. He does have his eBay course, and he does have a special for us. If you guys want to take advantage of the special that he put together for this webinar, that's up there also. I mean, if it works for you and it's something you want to find out more about, Chris is really good when it comes to getting that placement on eBay for his listings. I would seriously look at that. At least if you don't do that, hit him up. What's your email if they want to get a hold of you, or how can they get a hold of you other than on your blog if they just want to, ask you a question or something?
The easiest way would be in what's the group I just joined from that you're under?
I have many.
Yeah. The ones I tagged you in on my Facebook profile.
Is that the My Inventory? Oh, Pro Seller Talk?
Yeah, I'm in that Facebook group. So if you're in Pro Seller Talk, just tag. I think I'm the only Chris Smith in there. Just tag Chris Smith. And any question that you have.
All right, Chris. It's been a pleasure, like I said, having you here, and hopefully I'll see you down the road, at maybe at CES or somewhere else where I might be speaking in the near future. I never know what my schedule is going to be like. Again, thanks for coming on here, guys. Thanks for coming and watching another episode of Pro Seller Talk. We're glad to have you here. We know there's other places you could be going to and watching. Chris really appreciates you coming here and spending some time with us and giving all the great information that he gave. I learned some things about eBay today that I didn't know, as far as the relevancy and how eBay's changed, and they're not, that keyword spamming thing is kind of going away. I know a lot of people that did that, and it's interesting how Chris has been able to attack this and really be real successful doing it. I really commend him on that, and also commend him on being a full-time teacher and able to leave his teaching position to come home to be with his family and his children and be able to raise them right at home. I mean, bringing fathers and moms home is what Jim Corcoran, who you mentioned earlier, a good friend of mine I've known since the 90s, who you basically mentioned, always preaches. He always says, hey, bringing parents home, bringing dads home, the same type of thing. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you guys out any way you can. You can reach out to me in Pro Seller Talk if you want, my inventory team. Again, guys, have a great night, and God bless. And Chris, take care. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks.